to be with you all and thrilled that we get to come together and create an epic week. So those of you in the live audience, let me know if you're here for it. You're ready to create an absolutely epic week together. And those of you watching on social and listening through the podcast, we are so happy that you're here, and let's get ready to rise. So let's take a deep breath. Yeah, we've got Margaret's ready to rise. I love it. So I'm thrilled to come together today because we're going to do a more strategic episode, and I'm going to talk about how to write and or finish, if you're in the middle of a big creative project this summer. When if you're listening to this not in the summer, just know in your next 12 weeks, okay? So we're going to talk about getting a huge creative project done in 12 weeks, which is 90 days. All right. So if that's exciting to you, I'm excited to do this with you because I am finishing my next book this summer over these next 90 days. And I know many of you who are training with us in Thought Leader Academy and our other programs are also working on whether it's finishing a book, whether it is getting ready to launch a new program, whether it's launching a podcast, whether you're going to be doing a TEDx talk. We're going to be working on this week how to get a huge creative project done in 90 days. All right. So who's excited about that? I hope that you are. I'm very excited because I'm living it in real time, and I will be bringing you, behind the scenes all throughout this 90 days as well for how we put something like this together. But today I want to walk you through the step-by-step process that has helped me consistently write 5 books, publish 5 bestsellers, launch programs, launch podcasts, launch online shows, all the different things. And the first thing, it's a pre-step before the main work, which is to decide what is the big project on your heart. So I want everybody now, when you're listening to this, to just take a minute, if you even want to put your hands on your heart and breathe and ask yourself, what is the thing that when I accomplish it in the next 90 days, I'm doing naked cartwheels? I'm so proud of myself. I'm so excited that I'm doing naked cartwheels. Okay. That's what I want us to identify first. All right. So take a minute. And if you're watching this after the live show, you can pause even and just see what that is for you. And those of you who are here in the live audience, you're on social, please put that in the comments or the chat so that we kind of see what we are working with. What is the thing that you're either going to start and finish, or finish if you're midway through, in the next 90 days? Okay, once you have that, I'm going to walk you through the framework. So the very first thing I do is, and this was a game changer for me a number of years ago, when I read I read the statistics and research on decisions determine our destiny. And so the very first step in this framework is that you decide that you are doing this project this summer or in these next 12 weeks or whatever time frame you're going to put in it. Okay. So we decide, declare, and decree. DDD. All right. Decide, declare, and decree. So you're going to decide that you are doing this project in this, next X number of days or weeks. And you declare and decree that it's done. Even if you've never followed through before, even if you've tried this for the last 10 years and it hasn't happened, this can still be your moment. And this next, season or 90 days, 12 weeks, whatever way you like to phrase it, is here for you to have a massive breakthrough. Whatever's happened up until now is irrelevant. What matters now is you decide, because decisions determine our destiny. Now, we need the rest of the steps, because if we just say it out loud and declare and decree it, it doesn't mean we're actually following through and doing it, which is what the rest of the steps are for. Okay. So that is step one, though. There is so much power in you remembering that you decide, that you have agency, that you have the vision, and you get to choose what you're committing to. Okay. If you don't make a decision, then we're still in the conversation. Should I write today? Should I focus on this today? Do I have time? Do I feel like it? Do I think it will work? All of that we want to eliminate with step one by deciding, declaring, and decreeing that you're doing this. So put DDD in the comments or the chat if you're watching this, that you are going to decide, declare, and decree to have this project finished whatever you want, next 90 days, 12 weeks by the end of the summer. Okay. Decide, declare, decree. So even just see how your posture might change. You might find yourself just in a little more of a power pose because you said, I'm doing this. All right. Now, if we left it there, we wouldn't do anything because, we're just going to say, say it. So we need to move to the next step. And the next step is to determine, it's another D, we're going to determine what is needed. Like what's actually needed. And I'm going to invite everybody, you'll do this as a homework if you're watching this live or if you're listening to it, through the podcast, just push pause and you're going to brainstorm a list. You can get it started right now, but you're going to brainstorm a list of what is needed. So for example, I'm finishing a book this summer. And so what's needed is me to have consistent writing time. I'm going to need to time block my schedule so that there's consistent writing time. If I didn't have an editor, I do. But if I didn't have an editor, I would need, an editor to be working on that with me. If there's skills, sometimes I'm going to do something new. And what I'm going to need is to either have a strategy session with someone to figure out what the steps are, or I'm going to need some guidance. When I was launching the podcast, I needed to learn. One of the things I needed on that list was, what are the distribution channels? Like, what is it that we're going to need in terms of tech, in terms of distribution, in terms of getting the podcast on Apple and Spotify and all the things. So step 2, after you've declared what you will do in the next, let's say 90 days, you are going to declare decree and you're going to claim it, right? And then you're going to determine what is needed. Is there upskilling involved? Is there time involved? Is there a financial investment involved? Is there tech or systems or strategy that you don't currently know that's going to be involved in you completing this big, exciting, electric, creative goal in the next 90 days? Okay. So step 2 is you're determining what is needed. You're not figuring out the answers. We just want to make a list of what's needed. And what this does is it calms the brain down instead of jumping to, I don't know. Well, I don't know the person that distributes podcasts. Right. You're going to put that on your determination list. What is needed? And you're just going to see it out in front of you. Oh, okay. This is what's needed. Good to know. Right. We got that. Number 2. You're going to make that comprehensive list. And by the way, here's a hack. If you don't know, you're just like, I don't even know what's needed in writing a book or publishing a podcast or whatever. You're going to find 3 people who've done what you want to do in a way that inspires you and ask what they did. So if you're launching a new coaching program that's different than anything you've done before, then you're going to find 3 people who've launched really successful coaching programs. And if you have access to them, you could email them or text them or ask, can I have 5 minutes and just kind of tell me what were the key steps? Or if you don't have access to anyone that's done what you're doing, you're going to thank God we live in the world where everyone has podcasts and YouTube channels and, they write books and they do interviews and they have blogs and they have all the things. Get on their email list, start looking for the clues. Success leaves clues. You're going to look for the clues. What did they all do? Oh, they all used Kajabi for their course. Oh, maybe that goes on my list. I need a course platform, right? So that's your workaround. If you're like, oh no, I have to quit at step 2 because I don't know what is on my determined list. You're going to find at least three people who've done what you want to do in a way that inspires you and find out how they did it. Look for the common denominators. You can find more than 3, but let's keep it simple. Okay. Now we're going to go to step 3 in the process. Step 3 is you're going to make an action plan and chunk down your project. So we teach this in our best-selling book bootcamp, where it's like, if you're thinking of writing a 200-page book, that can feel like, oh my God, I got to write 200 pages this summer. I have to write a whole book this summer. It's very overwhelming to our brain. So in this case, if it's a book and you want to write 200 pages in the next, between now and Labor Day, then you're going to determine how many weeks that is. That's what I recommend you do. It's like, okay, well, and I would just go to my calendar, literally open it up and say, okay, I've got, how many weeks left? And let's say there's 10 weeks. You'd say, okay, I'm going to write a 200-page book in the next 12 weeks or 10 weeks, right? So that's how much? 20 pages a week, right? And then you could chunk that down and say, I want to write 3 days a week. And so you get the calculator out and we'd say, okay, so if I want to get 20 pages done per week and I only want to write 3 days a week, I write about 7 pages per day of my writing days. 3 days a week, I write 7 pages. So now what we're doing is we're calming the brain down a little bit and saying, it's Wednesday. Wednesday's a writing day. I am focused on 7 pages. I'm not focused on 200. I'm not focused on who's publishing this book. I'm not focused on the marketing plan and the launch party and anything else. I am writing 7 pages today. Or let's say you want to do a 200-page book in 10 weeks. We know that's 20 pages a week, and you want to write all 7 days. You're like, I just want to do a little bit every day, right? Then you're writing 1.5 pages a day. It's like, I'm going to write 1.5 pages a day and I will have a finished book at the end of the summer or the end of these 10 weeks. So we got to chunk down. Now, if your project has other things besides writing pages, right? It's like, okay, I'm going to decide on my course. If you're launching a course, I'm going to decide on what platform I'm using for the course in week 1. Week 2 of the 10 weeks, I'm going to outline and write out what all the modules are going to be and figure out like what is going in this course. Week 3, I'm going to start recording. Week 4, I'm going to start putting together a worksheet to go with each module, right? And so we're chunking down the steps so that on a Tuesday morning, you wake up and say, oh, I'm recording a 10-minute module. That's all you have to think about that day. Because you've got the big goal and in 10 weeks, you've got your course and you know that you're on week 3 and week 3, you're going to record 5 modules, 1 per day. And so it's Tuesday, you're going to record a 10-minute module. That's it. Then you go about your day. Right? So we're going to chunk it down. All right. Now, step 4 in this process, is we want to think about, it's all great to make a plan and figure out what's needed and declare and decree it, but we want to make this non-negotiable. Do you know it takes massively less energy? I love this. I read this study where it takes massively less energy to do something that you make non-negotiable than anything that we have on the table. Like I might do it, I might not, because you spend almost as much time as you would on the task itself, deciding whether you're going to do this thing, right? So whether that's saying, I'm just doing a podcast episode every week, it's a non-negotiable, instead of, well, I'm going to aim for once a week, but if I'm traveling, it's just like, it's once a week. And then you just decide when you're going to do it and you do it. I'm going to write 20 pages a week. If we're thinking I might write 20, I'm thinking I could, I'll potentially right. Then it just becomes like all this energy is in the perseveration between doing it, not doing it, versus saying, I'm all in. That's why we declare, we make a decision to determine our destiny. All right. So how do we do that? How do we really make something? These next 2 steps are what makes something much more of a non-negotiable. And this is the step. Step 4 is what I call, and I borrowed this from Brendon Burchard, make it social. Make it social. So here's what happened for me. One year, it was my junior year of college. It was the end of the year. There was a party for the last night of school before we all took off to go away for home for the summer, or whatever we were doing for the summer. And I had recently been reading about marathons and marathon running. And I was not in any kind of distance running shape, or I wasn't like a runner or whatever. I never, and I was at this party and I started telling people, I'm going to run the Chicago Marathon. I'm running the Chicago Marathon. And someone's like, oh, it's on October 18th. Great. I'm running the Chicago Marathon October 18th. And I'm just like saying this, right? I don't have any like plan or what I'm doing. I'm not in shape. I'm nothing, but I'm just mouthing off at a party like I'm going to run the Chicago Marathon. And then I completely forgot about it. I went home, and a couple of weeks later, people would text me and message me and say, hey, how's the marathon training going? Like, what plan did you use? What training program are you doing? And I was like, what am I? Now, I could have, of course, just said to everyone, oh, that was me just, kind of in fantasy land and whatever. But I started thinking about it. I thought, well, I really do want to run a marathon. And now people are actually asking me, and I don't want to go back to school in the fall and feel like a big, idiot. What if I did download a training plan? And what if I did, put in my registration money now early. So then I've even paid for it. And so what you want to do is start in step number 4, we want to start escalating the skin in the game. Now we've got other people that know about it, that you care. This only works if it's people you care about and respect, right? It's got to be somebody you don't want to let down. And you've got to kind of care. And also, if there's any investment you can make, that is also another fail safe in you following through. Because once I paid for the marathon, and I'm in college, I don't have a ton of like extra money, and they're not like horribly expensive, but they're not like nothing. And so then I paid money and actually signed up for this race. And I had people checking in and saying, are you still doing that marathon? That was inspiring. That's amazing. You're not even a runner and you're going to do a marathon. And making it social. So whether that's, if you have people that you care about following, like clients are great because you're never going to let down any clients. Those of you that coach people or consult people or whatever, you are never going to want to let down. The only reason I wrote the Science of Getting Rich for Women book in 6 weeks is because we had some clients asking for a playbook to do a book in 6 weeks. And would I teach one? And I said, well, I'm certainly not going to teach it if I haven't done it. And so I told them all, yeah, I'm going to do this book in 6 weeks. And then there's no way I was not going to do it. There was no way I was going to go back to our clients who I teach about writing books and say, I didn't do it. Like I wasn't going to do it. So I figured it out and I got it done. But I would never have done that book in 6 weeks. It would have taken me 6 months minimum if I hadn't said to people I care deeply about and want to be in integrity with, I'm doing it. Right? So step 4 is make it social. Put more skin in the game. What could you do around your big, yummy, juicy project that you're going to do in the next 10 weeks, 90 days, 12 weeks, whatever you choose as your frame time? How could you make it much more painful and uncomfortable for you not to do it than to do it, right? And I don't mean that in the sense of like torturing ourselves. I just mean it in the sense of, I didn't want to let anybody down. If you're a people pleaser, use it to your advantage in this case. That's not helpful in a lot of life, but you can use it to your advantage here to keep you super, super committed to doing this big goal, right? So what ways could you sort of enmesh yourself in this result financially, socially, other ways that you can get that level of non-negotiability up pretty high? Okay, that's step 4. Step 5 is the final official step. I'm going to give a bonus step, but step 5 is the final official step, which is where you take it one step further and you get an accountability structure in place daily. In order to do a book this summer or in the next 10 weeks or the next 12 weeks, or launch a course or a podcast or do a TED Talk, whatever it is that's your next big goal, daily accountability. This was a huge game changer. I used to have weekly accountability and it was great. Daily accountability increased my productivity, focus, and results by 35% because I'm a nerd and I track things, right? So because the way I like to do it, the way I'm going to offer for you to do it for your big project that you're committing to over this next 90 days is to, again, choose someone that you really care about that's an all-in kind of person, not someone who's going to say, oh, of course, no big deal, like someone loving, but someone who really is going to expect the most of you and sees you for the next level leader that you are, right? And you pick someone else who has a big goal because it's ideal if the two of you, or you can make a group of a couple people, if everybody in the group is playing for something big. Because you're also not going to feel fun if someone is like, oh, my big goal for the next 90 days is to, just do what I'm doing. That energy is going to be very chill and whatever, right? Versus if you're like, whoa, we're both like, you're writing a book and I'm doing a TED Talk and our third person is launching a course and we're going to have everything done. All our, materials, assets, manuscript, everything is done in 90 days. Then you're all playing. You're all stretching. You're all going up against your gremlins and breaking through your glass ceilings. Right? And so what I recommend for this structure specifically is not just accountability in general, every day in the morning. Here's exactly what I'm going to do to stay on track with this project being done by the end of the summer. And you figured that out in step 2 of the process. Those of you that you're paying attention, right? That's where you determined what's needed. And in step 3, chunked it down. You'd said, here's what I'm going to do today. And then at the end of the day, this is crucial that you do end of day accountability, beginning of day, end of day. because then you got to come back in and say what you did. And again, if you picked someone or a group that you do not want to disappoint, you do not want to be the person that's not in integrity with her word, his word, their word, then you will figure out. There have been times, many times, I've been doing daily accountability for all of 2024. We've not missed a single day of accountability this year. And if we go on vacation, we say, my accountability is I'll be back in 5 days. And, but we've got our daily accountability. And I always, it might be 7 o'clock at night, and I look at that list of those things I said I was committed to doing. And if I need to write another page, I go in the other room and write a page. If I need to make another outreach, a pitch, whatever, the action step is, then I go get it done, because I do not want to come in there and let my partner down, who's playing really big on her vision. I want to go in and say, yep, it was either fun and easy, it was really challenging, I thought I wasn't going to make it. And we have at least a dozen or more times, probably 24 times, said I would not have hit my goal if I wasn't in here writing it out and saying it morning and evening. If you just do morning, it's too easy to say, oh, here's what I'm going to do, but there's no feedback loop at the end. We are not doing this to judge each other, be harsh on each other. We're doing it to empower and rise each other up, so that we actually, at the end of this 90-day period, are holding in our hands that finished, kiss it on the lips manuscript, or your course is ready to launch, or your event is planned and secured and you're in promotion, or you've sent out your TEDx applications, whatever that goal is. These are the 5 steps I use, and they work. They've helped me write 5 best-selling books. They've helped me launch multiple programs. They've helped me do a TEDx talk. They've helped me, go out and speak on stages, get paid to speak, all those things that we do in this exciting world of thought leadership. And it was these 5 steps. And then we give you your bonus step. Okay. This is the magic. This is the fairy dust sprinkle. At least once a day, you are going to envision yourself and make the posture and the feeling state and the imagine visually this already done. Because sometimes we're in it's way out there when my book is finished or my course is ready. And so you're just going to spend at least 69 seconds. That's how long it takes to create a new point of attraction. We're going to go 69 seconds at least, or more if you can. And you're going to walk around in the energy and excitement or relief or thrill or proud of yourself or whatever that energy is that you're going to feel when you have finished this project in the next 90 days. All right, so let's do that now. Let's tune into it. Everybody call to mind the big, amazing, juicy, audacious, thrilling creative project that you are committing to finish in the next 90 days. And imagine it's 90 days from now, and you freaking did it. I want you to tune in and see how will that feel? How does that feel? You have absolutely rocked this project, and it is done. And see if you can identify the primary emotion that you feel when this is complete. And just dial it up. Imagine it's on a dial and we're dialing that up. And then what we're going to do is spend a little bit of time every day cultivating this emotion paired with the visualization of it being done. You're going to see it and you're going to feel it. And I love Dr. Joe Dispenza on this. The thought sends the signal out. The vision, visualizing it, sends it out to the universe, right? And the feeling pulls it in to manifestation. So we got to see it and we got to feel it every single day. When you do these really 6 things, right? Because that's our bonus magic step. You will get this project done. You will be a finisher. even if you've never been before. You will be looking around like, oh my gosh, it actually happened. And those of you that are going to run with me, if you're listening to this right when it comes out this summer, know that you're going to be doing it with the pack here, okay? And we're going to rise together. Before we conclude, I want to ask everybody to think about another question that I find extremely motivating when I commit to completing a huge creative project in the next 90 days. And that is, what is better or different in your life when you have done this? Just take a minute to contemplate that for a moment. Like, what's better or different when the book's done, the course is launched, you're standing on the TEDx red circle, you've reached that next financial milestone, whatever that big goal is that you're choosing for the next 90 days. All right. And if you're pretty excited about what's better and different, if you ask yourself, is that important to me? So the way I finish with this is I'll say, let's say I say, when this book's done, what's better and different is I feel really excited. I feel empowered around bringing my next book in the world because I have a commitment to, continually write books. I feel so excited for the people that are going to read it because it has all of these incredibly transformational, powers in it and frameworks and things that are going to really help people. I'm so excited because I get to go on to like the book launch phase now and think about the book tour and really connecting with people live and online and in person and all the ways like. And if those things are important to you, maybe it's like, oh, and this brings in more income. And you say to yourself, okay, is connecting with people, creating transformation, feeling empowered, generating income, are those things important to me this year? And if they are, then that's just giving you extra juice, right? Extra rocket fuel to remind yourself in that moment of visualization and feeling every day all the things that are better and different. The fact that you have the calling and desire for this next creative project means that you are worthy and capable, and even more than that, that life is wanting you to do this thing. And life doesn't want you to do it in 10 years or in 3 years, but now. You would never be listening to this right now if that thing that's been calling to you, whether it's a brand new vision and you're just like itching to get it out in the world, or something that's been inside you for many, 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 many years. You would never have the calling if you weren't destined to fulfill it. The only way we can is to go through this process where we declare and decide to do it. We determine what's needed in terms of resources. 3, that we create an action plan and chunk it down. So we're not trying to figure out everything every single day. We just say, what's today? 4, we put more skin in the game by making it social with people we care about, investing if there's like a registration or financial investment or something along those lines. I'll tell you what, if you're doing a course, put up the sales page now. Then you have to create the course, right? People are signing up for it. It's like, oh God, now I got to do it, right? Pitch the speaking engagement, book the talk, and then you got to create the talk, right? That's number 4, skin in the game. And then 5, daily accountability, morning and evening, so that it's non-negotiable with someone or someone's that you feel you really, really want to show up for and play big with. And then our bonus magic sauce at the end is you're going to visualize it every day. You're going to feel the feelings and remind yourself what's better and different. Why is it important that you do this now? So I want to hear from you as you're listening to this. Those of you that are that don't have it already, if you are doing a book, if you're like me and your big project that you're claiming for yourself today is your next book, or you're going to finish a book you've started, or you're going to think about doing a book, just make sure to DM me the word book, and I'll make sure you have the workbook that shows you the 7 steps to a revenue generating, client attracting, best-selling book. So you can use that over the 90 days to do your book. Those of you doing other creative projects, absolutely, you're going to find 3 people or more that have done what you want to do, and you're going to use their roadmap. Those of you that want to do the book, I've got your roadmap for you, the one that I use. All right. So great. And then we'll make sure to get that. Anyone that says book, team Jill, if you could make a note and send everybody that says book the 7 steps to a revenue generating best-selling book, so that you guys have that. And awesome. Just make sure, all of you that are here in the live audience, if you have, actually, Jill, if you want to pull it now, and then we'll go on, those of you on social or through the podcast, just put it in the comments. Make sure to get that to you. All right. So this is go time. We don't want to take up another second. We do not want to take up another second before we're in action, right? So who's going to do, it's really 6 steps. Put 6 if you are going to do these 6 steps and use this to complete a huge, amazing, incredible, epic, big creative project this summer. All right, or in the next 90 days. Okay, I love it. So let's grab the resource for those of you that are in the live audience, and everybody else just leave the comment for us so that we can make sure to get that to you, and we will do so. All right. Awesome job today. Give us a second, those of you hanging here. We can we'll conclude, and then we'll make sure you get your resource now. So this is the 7 steps to a revenue generating best-selling book, Jill. It's in our master links. It is our free gift. All right, so you guys just hang here and start making some notes. There it is. All right, so we've got it. Everybody grab it that wants it. And those of you, again, who are listening and watching in, just message us the word book and we'll get it to you. All right, you guys, amazing, amazing work today. Let's go out and kill it.